You know that feeling, right? That feeling when someone breaks a promise, or they miss a deadline, or they just behave badly. It's so frustrating. It's draining. But it turns out there's a much, much better way to handle it than just staying silent.
I mean, be honest with yourself for a second. Have you ever been in a situation where you saw something that was just not right, and you just bit your tongue? Of course you have. We all have. Today we're going to unpack the hidden dilemma that keeps us quiet, and more importantly, discover a simple skill that can literally change everything. And this quote from Woody Allen, it just nails it, doesn't it? This is exactly what happens when we stay silent. We internalize all that frustration, we let it fester, we don't solve the actual problem, we just grow a metaphorical tumor. It's a funny line for sure, but it points to a very real and, frankly, unhealthy habit.
And that tumor Woody Allen was talking about, well, it's not just your problem or my problem. This failure to hold people accountable has become a full-blown epidemic of silence. And it's affecting our families, our workplaces, and our communities in some really profound ways.
Just think about it for a second. It's that super tense holiday dinner where one relative is way out of line, but nobody says a word. It's the coworker who's just too forceful with their opinion, so everybody just learns to avoid certain topics. I mean, research shows that a staggering 93% of us work with someone we find difficult, yet we almost never confront them. We see colleagues cutting corners on safety, or we get handed these absolutely insane project deadlines, and what do? We just say nothing.
So, why? Why do we choose silence so often, even when the stakes are really high? Well, it all comes down to this kind of split-second mental math we do. A quick calculation that tells us that speaking up is just not worth the risk. Let's really break down that dilemma. We feel completely trapped between two really bad options. On one hand, right, we can just suffer in silence. We let people walk all over us, the problem never gets fixed, and we just grow that tumor of resentment. Or, on the other hand, we can unleash some brutal honesty. But then what happens? They're seen as a jerk, we risk totally damaging the relationship, and we might kick off an ugly, pointless fight. I mean, neither of those sounds very good, does it?
So ultimately, this is the trap. We believe we have to make this impossible choice, either be a decent, kind person or get the results we need. It feels like we just can't have both. You can't be candid and kind at the same time. But what if that's totally wrong?
What if there's a third option? The authors of the book Crucial Accountability set out to prove one exists, and they did it with this simple, just brilliant experiment involving something we can all relate to. Someone cutting in line.
Okay, so here's how it all went down. First, they had an actor confront a line cutter really abrasively, yelling, "Hey, buddy, get to the end of the line." And yeah, it worked. But here's the interesting part. When a new line cutter showed up, not a single person watching copied that aggressive style. Why? Because they didn't want to be a jerk. So then they tried a new model. This time the actor was super polite but firm. "I'm sorry, perhaps you're unaware. We've all been standing in line." And that was the breakthrough. People saw, maybe for the first time, that it was possible to be both honest and respectful.
And the result of just showing people this third option? It was absolutely astonishing. After seeing that civil model just one time, when a new person cut in line, over 80% of the people standing by spoke up. And a lot of them used the exact same polite words they had just heard.
And this right here is the single most important takeaway from that whole experiment. The reason people stayed silent before wasn't because they were cowards, it's because they didn't know how to speak up effectively. The moment they learned the skill, they used it. It's not about having guts, it's about having the right tools for the job.
So where do these magic skills come from? Well, the authors didn't just invent them out of thin air. They went out and they found the people who are already masters of accountability, this special group they call positive deviants.
So what on earth is a positive deviant? It's basically someone who, in the exact same tough situation where everyone else is failing, somehow finds a way to succeed. Think of the manager who gets incredible results and their team loves them, or the parents who can navigate those really tough conversations with their kids with grace. These are the people who show the rest of us what's actually possible.
And this is maybe the most empowering message of all. The skills these positive deviants have, they aren't personality traits they were born with. They are specific, observable, and most importantly, learnable behaviors. Accountability isn't about who you are, it's about what you choose to do and what you learn to do well.
So what happens when you actually learn to do what these positive deviants do? I mean, what's the actual payoff here? The results are not just small, tiny improvements, they are massive, measurable breakthroughs in performance and just general well-being. Okay, get this. Take a huge telecom company. Just by helping its team get 18% better at having these conversations, the company saw productivity jump by over 40%. I mean, that is a massive return on investment for just learning how to talk to each other a little more effectively.
And it's not just in the corporate world. In a manufacturing plant that was once described as a place where, quote, you'd have to kill a person to get fired, teaching these skills completely turned the culture around and boosted profitability by over $40 million a year. A year!
What about life and death situations? In hospitals that taught nurses and staff how to hold doctors accountable for something as simple as hand washing, compliance rates jumped from the typical 70% to nearly 100%. Just stop and think for a second about the infections that were prevented and the lives that were saved because of that. The results are so predictable that at one big defense contractor, they could actually calculate the value of this skill. Check this out. Every single 1% increase in its use added $1.5 million in productivity. The impact is just undeniable.
So what does all of this mean for you personally? It means you can learn to solve problems while they're still small, before they blow up. It means you can actually strengthen your relationships by having these tough conversations, not destroy them. It means you become one of the most valuable people in your organization. And ultimately, it means bringing trust and predictability back into your work and into your life.
Look, broken promises and bad behavior, they're just a fact of life. They are going to happen. That's a given. So the only real question left is, when they do, are we prepared?